want everyone to know that this is going to be my only video I will make for this week, at least until next week, which coincidentally is going to be around the time when it will be the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings, which will be this upcoming Thursday. But of course, the real reason why I'm making this to be my only video for this week is because of the verdict. I'm pretty sure every one of you have already heard, but just as a recap, Donald Trump, the former president of the United States, has been found guilty by the jury on all 34 charges of falsifying business records. Just for each charge, just to let you know, as I recall, it gives a maximum of 4 years per charge in prison. Now, these are not mandatory, although I will not be surprised if Alvin Bragg is going to make this case in the future to Judge Mercant to try to get rid of Donald Trump, to put him in house arrest or to put him in Rikers. I have absolutely no idea on that, although I will get into that a little bit later in this video. But I will say that this has become a political earthquake that has rocked the United States. It's insane, especially considering with the fact that this verdict was made the way it was. I admit that I thought that it was going to be a hung jury. I admit I was completely wrong. But then again, looking back on the entire trial itself, it should have been... I should have seen it from the very beginning, that this was not going to be a fair trial whatsoever. I mean, here's the thing. Donald Trump had to appear in court in New York. This is a state, or more specifically, the city went double digits for Joe Biden and has consistently remained with the Democratic Party, barring certain exceptions within the last few decades. Then he had to deal with the fact that Judge Mercant was deeply pro-liberal to the point where his own daughter was volunteering to work and to generate donations for the Biden campaign in the millions of dollars, which in turn would cause biased judgment by the judge over this case. A case which, by the way, I want you to know, he decided to not recuse himself on. And of course, there was the gag order issued against Trump, which, by the way, was not issued to anyone else. Not to Michael Cohen, not to Stormy Daniels, no one except Donald J. Trump. And of course, there's the fact that the prosecution was allowed to allowed to present certain evidence, such as the testimony of Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels, which were shaky at best, to the point where even CNN had to admit before this verdict that Alvin Bragg had no case. I mean, seriously, the FEC, which I'm pretty sure does not like Trump still, and even did not like Donald Trump during his presidency, would have nailed Donald Trump to the wall with this if there was something there. I'm pretty sure of that. Meanwhile, the defense was limited on what evidence they could present, which could turn the jury towards a not guilty verdict. And of course, considering the venue of this court trial, it was in New York, and it's mainly liberal, and they already don't like Donald Trump. Of course, everyone thought there was this one guy who was into social media and looked at Truth Social, but again, apparently the feelings of hating and despising Donald Trump are more important than issuing real justice. I swear to God, this reminds me a whole lot of To Kill a Mockingbird. I have not read the book, but I definitely seen the film a while ago. And I remember that it was in the Jim Crow Deep South, where a black man was accused of raping a white woman. And he was tried, and a lot of the evidence was shady at best. To the point where even the family of the so-called victim had their reputation destroyed as a result. And yet that didn't matter. He was still convicted by the jury. He was found guilty as a result. Now, apparently, it could have been overturned in an appeal court, but the black guy, I believe his name was Tom, he was shot dead by a lynch mob. How is this not that similar? It was all due to issues of feelings rather than the facts and evidence of the case that Donald Trump has been found guilty by the jury. And it was obviously political. It's just a little so frustrating. Here, I know that a lot of liberals are definitely celebrating this. And by the way, this also kind of reminds me of the trial of Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones. By the way, I'm not as much of a big fan of Game of Thrones. I have seen some scenes of that, especially of House of the Dragon, but I do know at least enough, or at least I think I know enough. But it does remind me of Cersei Lannister and her hatred of Tyrion Lannister for being a dwarf and supposedly killing their mother just because of birth, to the point where she despises Tyrion so much that she doesn't think that he was not guilty of killing Joffrey. Holy crap, does this remind me so much of that. Now, I know that a lot of lefties, especially in the mainstream media, are celebrating this specific verdict. But I want people to understand two problems with what's going on, especially with this verdict. Number one, it's going to be appealed. It's the reason why it hasn't been appealed yet is because that the sentencing is going to be occurring on July 11th, about 3 to 4 days before the Republican National Convention. That's not too on the nose, is it? And I'm pretty sure that just by the jury instructions alone, where the judge himself said that it doesn't need to be a unanimous verdict, that alone is going to be an immediate automatic appeal. And even if it doesn't go to the appeals courts, Donald Trump has the potential case of having this case be extradited to the Supreme Court. And overall, it looks more likely than not that the verdict will be overturned. And all the lefties will have is of only a few months of calling Donald Trump a convict. A convicted felon. Which is ironic considering the fact that Joe Biden himself is an unconvicted convict. Or an unconvicted felon. Much like his own son. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it? So in effect, all this lawfare in trying to push for a guilty verdict is going to be all for naught. And this leads to my second reasoning that this verdict is a major problem. It's already turned off a lot of independents and even average Joe liberals. Not Republicans who are already MAGA. Not even rhinos who admittedly don't like Donald Trump, but are definitely having issues with just this case. Many of them happen to be independents and average Joe liberals who are saying that this trial, just by looking at it, is ridiculous. And I've heard many stories where a lot of Democrats, as well as independents who either have not voted or who have consistently voted for the Democratic Party, are now switching towards Donald Trump, just based upon this verdict, or even even if not voting, donating towards him. In fact, 24 hours after the verdict was announced, Donald Trump obtained 52 $52.8 million in donations. I want you to understand that number because $52.8 million is more than what Joe Biden made last month. That is a big number, and definitely is going to help with Donald Trump's legal expenses as well as his political campaign. In fact, he's already getting free political advertising as a result. I will not be surprised if this also transitions to more votes for Donald Trump. After all, I'm already seeing a major boost for Donald Trump in the polls at this point in time. I truly believe that this may potentially translate into a landslide victory, not just in the popular vote, but in the electoral college vote. This, I'm pretty sure, has caused moderates to pause and think that this has gone too far. And it has. And honestly, I would say it has. I am a biased man because I'm a conservative, but seriously, this is not how you do justice. This is how you don't do legal cases whatsoever. There's just so much wrong. Now, I know that the sentencing is going to occur on July 11th. And I know that Alvin Bragg is thinking about potentially asking for Donald Trump to be imprisoned in Rikers or for house arrest or for whatever. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I don't know if Donald Trump is going to go to Rikers or if he's going to be issued a major fine. Either way, it's going to have major political ramifications, and I'm definitely going to make another video in regards to that situation. But who knows? All I know is that people are already riled up. As a result, many people are turning against Joe Biden. They're turning against the Democratic Party. They are turning against the current system because people are seeing that Donald Trump is being they see this as persecution. And the fact that now Donald Trump is considered a convicted felon is just adding more to his credentials because as Razor Fist says, America loves its criminals. And I would not be surprised if this verdict not only becomes the last straw for America, it becomes the last straw that puts Donald Trump as president of the United States. And not only that, he becomes the first convicted felon to be president of the United States. My name is Noah Meehan on The Arc Truth. Please post in comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, and share it for friends. Also, if you have any issues regarding my videos, such as how any of my improv or anything I should improve upon, please post it in the comment section down below or directly message me. Thank you.